It is June 15, 1389. Dawn breaks gray over the plains of Kosovo Palj. The air smells of wheat and iron and something that men who survive this day will spend the rest of their lives trying to name. A 59-year-old prince who was never born to rule pulls the straps tight on his breastplate. His hands are steady. His jaw is set. His eyes betray nothing, not to the men watching him, not to the priests still murmuring blessings behind the lines, not to the sky that promises rain but refuses to deliver it. Across a mile of open farmland, the most undefeated army on earth stands in a formation that stretches to the edges of vision. 40,000 men. Janissaries who have trained to kill since they were children. Cavalry that has shattered every Christian force foolish enough to stand against it. Behind them, the full weight of an empire that reaches from the shores of Anatolia to the Serbian heartlands. At its head, a sultan who has not lost a major battle in 20 years. Between this army and the end of everything Serbian, 20,000 farmers, shepherds, minor nobles who learned to hold a spear because the alternative was watching their villages burn and their children marched away in chains. By sunset, both commanders will be dead, one beheaded by his captors, the other stabbed through the chest by a lone knight who walks into the Sultan's camp with a concealed blade and trades his life for a single thrust. The field will be carpeted with the dead. The Serbian coalition will shatter beyond recovery. The question of who controls the Balkans will be answered. Not for a decade, not for a generation, for the next 500 years. 2 armies, 1 dead sultan, and the single afternoon that redrew the map of European civilization. But here is the part that history leaves out of the monuments. This battle does not begin on June 15th. It does not begin with formations and war drums and prayers whispered into cold morning air. It begins 34 years earlier, with an empire that dies in a single breath. With a kingdom that tears itself apart from the inside. With farmers who pick up weapons because there is no one else left to hold them. Before the cavalry charges. Before the collapsing flanks. Before the assassination that shocks 2 empires. You need to understand how the world reaches this point. How a Serbian empire that once threatened Constantinople fractures into rival warlords so busy fighting each other that they never see the shadow crossing the water behind them. Go back. 54 years before Kosovo, Serbia is not a collection of squabbling lords. It is an empire. And the man who built it is one of the most powerful rulers in medieval Europe. Stefan Dusan rules from 1331 to 1355. In those 24 years, he transforms a regional Balkan kingdom into the dominant force in southeastern Europe. He conquers south into Macedonia and Greece, pushing Serbian borders all the way to the Aegean Sea. At its height, his empire stretches from the Danube River in the north to the Gulf of Corinth in the south. Lands that today cover parts of Serbia, North Macedonia, Albania, Greece, and Bulgaria. In 1346, Dusan crowns himself not king, Tsar. Tsar of the Serbs and Greeks. The title is deliberate, calculated. He is positioning himself as the heir to Byzantium, the protector of Orthodox Christianity, the future conqueror of Constantinople itself. He builds monasteries that still stand 600 years later. Dikanat, Grekanica, the holy archangels. Their walls covered with frescoes of Christ and the saints, and among them, painted with equal solemnity, Dusan himself. Robed in gold, haloed in divine favor. God's chosen ruler on God's chosen earth. He codifies laws. He mints coins. He establishes a feudal order where regional lords, the Vlastila, hold land in exchange for military service. On parchment it looks like permanence, like something that will outlast centuries. In practice, it is a palace built on one man's shoulders. And when that man falls, the palace comes down with him. Dusan rules through force of will and military triumph. His nobles obey because he wins battles and distributes conquered estates. The church supports him because he raises monasteries and defends the faith. The peasants tolerate him because his reign brings expansion, not civil war. But there is nothing underneath. No bureaucracy that functions without his hand on it. No clear succession law. No shared identity deeper than personal loyalty to the Tsar himself. The empire runs because Dusan runs it. Remove him and the machine has no engine. This is the flaw that will kill a nation. When Stefan Dusan dies suddenly in December 1355, poisoned perhaps or claimed by illness, the chronicles disagree and the truth is buried with him. the empire dies in the same breath. His son, Stefan Uros V, inherits the crown at 19. History remembers him as Uros the Weak. The name is earned in full. He lacks his father's military instinct, his political ruthlessness, his terrifying ability to walk into a room of powerful men and make every one of them afraid. Watch how fast it falls apart. Within months, regional lords stop forwarding taxes. Within a year, they stop pretending to acknowledge his authority. Within 5 years, the Serbian Empire has fractured into a dozen independent principalities, each ruled by a nobleman who calls himself loyal to the Tsar but operates as a king in his own territory. The south collapses first. Greek territories declare independence. Albanian clans resume raiding across undefended borders. Bulgarian Tsars reclaim contested regions they had lost to Dusan's armies. By 1365, Uros controls little more than the land visible from his capital. He issues decrees no one follows. He summons councils no one attends. He is a czar with no empire, a crown with no country beneath it. When he dies without an heir in 1371, the very title of Serbian czar dies with him. 16 years. That is how long the empire survives its builder. What remains is wreckage, and 3 men fighting over who gets to stand on the tallest pile of it. In the south, the brothers Vukasin and Ugljiza Mrnjavcevic control the Maritsa River Valley. They style themselves kings. They hold the wealthiest trade routes in the former empire, access to the Aegean, Byzantine markets, Greek cities that pay taxes in gold. They are powerful. They are confident. And they are about to make a mistake that will cost 50,000 lives in a single night. In the center, Vuk Brankovic holds Kosovo, the rich agricultural plains, the silver mines around Novo Brdo that generate more wealth than most kingdoms. He is younger than the others, more ambitious, less patient. He plays every side and waits for someone else to bleed first. And in the north, ruling from the fortress city of Kruševac, is the man this story belongs to. Lazar Hrebeljanovic. Lazar is not royalty. His father was a minor courtier at Dusan's court. Modest rank. No military legend. No claim to the throne by blood or by custom. But Lazar understands something his rivals never will. Power is not inherited. It is constructed. Piece by piece. Alliance by alliance. Marriage by marriage. He weds Milica, a princess connected to the old royal dynasty. That marriage gives him something silver cannot buy: legitimacy. He positions himself carefully, the defender of the Serbian heartland, the guardian of monasteries, the last protector of Orthodox civilization in a world where the edges are already on fire. He distributes land wisely, builds alliances with the patience of a man who knows that one wrong move means destruction. He avoids the open wars that bleed his rivals dry while he consolidates what he has. By 1370, Lazar controls the most stable and defensible principality in fractured Serbia. But stability is not strength. And what is coming will require more strength than any Serbian prince has left to give. If you are watching this and you feel the weight of what is building, if you want to see history told not as distant facts but as human decisions with real cost, do me a favor right now. Drop a comment. Tell me where you are watching from tonight. And tell me this, if you were a farmer in Lazar's lands, if you knew what was coming, would you have picked up a spear? Or would you have taken your family and run? Because while these Serbian lords tear at each other over the bones of Dusan's empire, while they fight for titles and trade routes and silver mines, something is moving in the south. Something none of them are watching closely enough. A new power has crossed the water into Europe. Not raiders, not barbarians, state builders. With a system so efficient, so patient, and so disciplined that every Christian army that has faced it has been destroyed. The Ottomans have arrived on this continent. And they are never going back. The year is 1354. And a dying emperor is about to make the worst decision in European history. Byzantine Emperor John VI Kantakouzenos is losing a civil war. He needs soldiers. Professional ones. Fast. He looks east across the Dardanelles to a rising Turkish state that has spent 3 decades swallowing territory in Anatolia. Their troops are disciplined. Their price is reasonable. Their ambition is something he chooses not to think about. He invites the Ottomans to cross into Europe, to fight his war, to save his throne. They cross. They fight. They save nothing. They never leave. That same year, an earthquake collapses the fortress walls along the Gallipoli Peninsula. Ottoman soldiers, already on European soil as hired swords, walk through the rubble and plant their standard in the dust. Constantinople demands they withdraw. The Ottomans look at what lies beyond the ruins. Fractured states, feuding lords, rich land defended by no one capable of holding it. They refuse. Gallipoli becomes the first permanent Ottoman foothold in Europe. And everything that will follow, every battle, every fallen city, every kingdom swallowed whole, traces back to this single miscalculation. A desperate emperor opens a door, and the men who step through it have no intention of stepping back. But what makes the Ottomans unlike anything the Balkans have ever faced is not their appetite for conquest. Plenty of armies have swept through these lands. Huns, Avars, Bulgars. They raid, they burn, they move on. The Ottomans do something far more dangerous. They stay, they build, they replace. While Serbian power depends entirely on the man wearing the crown, one extraordinary ruler holds the empire together, one weak successor lets it collapse. Ottoman power depends on something no single death can break: institutions. Sultan Orhan does what no Serbian ruler has ever managed. He builds a standing army paid directly by the state. Not feudal levies who serve a few weeks and go home for harvest. Professional soldiers. Year-round. Salaried. Accountable. He creates a bureaucracy that collects taxes, administers provinces, and maintains records so detailed that Ottoman clerks can tell you how many sheep graze on a hillside 300 miles from the capital. When the Ottomans capture a city, they do not loot it and leave. They rebuild it. They install governors. They open markets. They invite Muslim scholars and craftsmen to settle. Within a decade, the conquered city functions as an Ottoman city, economically integrated, administratively absorbed, culturally transformed. This is not war as most Europeans understand it. This is war as permanent renovation. And it works. Orhan's son Murad inherits this machine in 1362 and drives it deeper into Europe. He captures Philippopolis. He takes Adrianople, the second largest city in the Byzantine Empire, and renames it Edirne. Then he makes it his new capital. The message is unmistakable. The Ottomans are not Anatolian raiders operating far from home. They are a European power now. And Edirne, closer to the Balkans than to Anatolia, is the center of their world. At the core of Murad's army stand two formations that no Christian force in southeastern Europe can match: the Janissaries. Infantry forged through a process so coldly efficient it still disturbs across the centuries. Ottoman officials travel to Christian villages in conquered lands. They carry lists. They select boys, 8, 10, 12 years old. They take them from their mothers, convert them to Islam, train them from childhood in barracks where the only family is the regiment and the only father is the sultan. By the time these boys carry weapons, they have drilled for a decade. They fight with composite bows and curved blades. They rotate fresh men to the front line mid-battle without breaking formation. They do not panic. They do not run. They are the most reliable infantry on the continent. The Sipahi cavalry. Muslim horsemen who receive land grants in exchange for military service. If a Sipahi fails to answer the Sultan's summons, he loses his estate. Immediately. No appeal. No second chance. The system produces a mounted force that rides not out of feudal obligation or personal loyalty, but because everything they own depends on showing up ready to fight. Behind these formations stands an administrative engine that processes conquered populations with terrifying consistency. Local Christians keep their faith, in exchange for a special tax. Their land is surveyed, measured, and reassigned to Sipahi landlords who may never visit the property. The original owners stay. They work the same fields. But now they are tenants. And their new landlord answers to Edirne. It is exploitation. But it is consistent exploitation. And consistency, as the Ottomans have learned, prevents rebellion far more effectively than cruelty. By 1371, this machine has been operating in the Balkans for 17 years. Ottoman commanders know the terrain. They know how Christian armies move, slow, heavy, dependent on quarrelsome nobles who argue about precedence while their men stand in the rain. And they know the one weakness that matters most. Christian armies fight each other more than they fight anyone else. The Mrnjavčević brothers do not understand any of this. And in September 1371, that ignorance cost them everything. Vukasin and Ugljiza march south with the largest Serbian force assembled since Dusan's time. Perhaps 50,000 men. They follow the Maritsa River toward Ottoman-held territory, confident that overwhelming numbers will carry the day. They camp on the riverbanks near Chernomen. They post guards. Not enough of them. They assume the Ottomans are far away. At midnight, the darkness explodes. Ottoman cavalry strikes the camp from 3 directions simultaneously. There is no time to form ranks. No time to buckle armor. Men crawl from tents half-dressed and die before they can stand. The noise is inhuman, horses screaming, steel finding flesh, thousands of voices crying out in confusion and terror. Panic moves faster than any cavalry charge. Soldiers run for the river thinking water means escape. Their chainmail drags them under. The Maritsa fills with the drowning. King Vukasin's body is never recovered. Despot Ugljiza sinks beneath the black water and does not come up. By dawn, the Serbian army has been erased. Not defeated in battle. Not outmaneuvered. Erased, as if it never existed. The Ottomans have not just won a fight. They have removed the entire southern Serbian military nobility from the face of the earth. In a single night. After Maritsa, the collapse accelerates. Southern Serbian lords rush to Murad's court to offer submission. Bulgaria becomes a vassal. The Byzantine emperor, ruler of what was once the greatest Christian empire on earth, travels personally to Edirne, kneels before the Sultan and swears loyalty. The old order of the Balkans is not dying. It is already dead. The Ottomans are simply filling the grave. Lazar watches all of this from Kruševac. He has refused to join the Maritsa campaign, officially to defend his northern borders, truthfully because he will not bleed his army for the Mrnjavčević brothers' ambition. That decision saves his army. It does not save his future. For 15 years, he walks the thinnest edge between defiance and submission. He sends gifts to Murad, described always as presents, never tribute. He fortifies his borders. He collects taxes. He keeps his nobles in line. He watches Sofia fall in 1385. Watches the Ottoman system spread. Administrators, tax registers, Sipahi landlords, the Devshirm collecting children like a tax paid in flesh. He watches. He calculates. He waits. Then in 1386 the waiting ends. Ottoman forces appear outside Niš. Not a frontier village. A major city. 60 miles from Kruševac. Controlling the Morava Valley, the main road into Lazar's heartland. Siege engines batter the walls for 2 weeks. A section collapses. Ottoman troops pour through. The garrison is executed. The population receives the choice that is not a choice: convert or be chained. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, are marched south to Anatolian slave markets. Engineers repair the walls. A permanent garrison moves in. And Niš, a Serbian city since before anyone alive can remember, becomes Ottoman between one sunrise and the next. Refugees pour into Lazar's lands. Families on foot carrying whatever they can hold in 2 hands. They bring stories that spread through the principality like fever. Devshirm officials arriving in villages with lists. Boys selected by age and health and marched away while parents who resist are cut down where they stand. Churches converted. Priests detained. Land reassigned. A system so methodical it does not need violence to destroy a people. It simply absorbs them. Cell by cell. Year by year. Until there is nothing left to absorb. Lazar has spent 15 years watching the disease approach. He has adjusted his ambitions from empire to survival. But survival requires having something left to survive with. Niš is gone. The main road south is now an Ottoman highway. The next city in line is Kruševac. The question is no longer whether Murad is coming. It is how many months Lazar has left before the knock on the gate. He calls a council. He gathers the only men he trusts. And he puts the question to them in words that leave no room for diplomacy. We submit, or we fight. The hall at Kruševac is not built for grand assemblies. It is built for decisions made by small numbers of men who understand that what is said in this room cannot be unsaid. Late 1386. A fire burns low in the hearth. The faces around the table carry the particular exhaustion of men who have been arguing the same question for days and know they are running out of time to answer it. Lazar sits at the head. He has already made up his mind. He listens anyway. Because a prince who fights a war without his nobles behind him is not a prince leading an army. He is a man walking into the dark alone. The case for submission is made first. It is made carefully, respectfully, and with numbers that no one in the room can dispute. The Ottomans have not lost a major engagement in 20 years. Their army is larger than everything the remaining Serbian lords can assemble, combined. Their janissaries fight with a discipline that Serbian levies cannot replicate. Their cavalry has broken every Christian force that has challenged it. And even if, by some miracle, Lazar wins a battle, Murad can raise another army. And another. The Sultan draws men and material from Anatolia to the Aegean. Lazar draws from a landlocked principality with 200,000 souls. Submission means vassalage. Lazar keeps his title, his estates, his churches, for now. His sons go to the Ottoman court as hostages. His soldiers serve in Ottoman campaigns against fellow Christians. Ottoman tax collectors enter his lands. The Devshirme comes annually. It is survival. Diminished, compromised, but survival. The room absorbs this in silence. No one argues. The numbers argue for themselves. Then Bishop Danilo of Raska rises. And he does not argue numbers at all. He argues meaning. The Ottomans, he tells the room, are not a political problem that can be managed through treaties and tributary payments. They are an existential threat to Orthodox Christianity, not because they will burn the churches, though some will burn, but because they will empty them. Submission means Muslim administration. Muslim administration means the slow suffocation of the faith. Churches lose their land. Monasteries lose their endowments. Priests lose their authority. The Devshirme takes the sons. The tax system rewards conversion. Within a generation, not through persecution but through opportunity, Christian families begin crossing over. The ones who remain grow poorer, more isolated. Their children inherit a faith that costs them everything and offers them nothing. The bishop is not predicting. He is describing what has already happened in every territory the Ottomans have absorbed. He has spoken to refugees from Niš, from Sofia, from the Maritsa Valley. The pattern is identical everywhere. The system does not need swords to kill a faith. It needs patience. And the Ottomans have more patience than anyone alive. Fight and fall, Lazar dies defending his people and his God. His name means something. His sacrifice becomes a wall that memory can lean against. Submit and survive. Lazar presides over his own erasure. His grandchildren speak Turkish. His churches stand empty. His people remember nothing. The bishop does not tell Lazar what to do. He tells him what each choice actually costs. And the cost of submission, measured not in taxes or territory but in identity, is total. Lazar gives the order. He will fight. But not today. Not this season. He will use every month Murad gives him to build what no Serbian prince has managed to build since Dusan. A coalition. Multiple lords. Multiple armies. Multiple reasons to stand on the same field at the same time and face the same enemy. His envoys ride before the week is out. West, to King Tvrtko I of Bosnia. Tvrtko is the strongest independent Christian ruler left in the region. He has spent the years of Serbian collapse expanding aggressively, seizing parts of Dalmatia, claiming Croatian territories, crowning himself King of Serbia, Bosnia, Dalmatia, Croatia, and the littoral in 1377. The title overstates his power. But it declares his ambition. That ambition depends on the Ottomans being stopped. If Murad swallows Serbia, Bosnia becomes an island. Ottoman territory to the south and east. Hungarian pressure from the north and west. No allies. No room. No future. Tvrtko's response comes fast. He pledges a force under Vlatko Vukovic, one of the most capable commanders in the Balkans. Heavy cavalry. Armored horsemen trained in Western European shock tactics. Their purpose is singular, the devastating mass charge that hits an infantry line at full gallop and breaks it in a single impact. They are the most lethal striking force the coalition will possess. And Vlatko knows exactly how to use them. North, to King Sigismund of Hungary. The Hungarians have their own conflicts with the Ottomans. But Sigismund is cautious. He offers vague encouragement. No troops. No binding commitment. Enough ambiguity for Lazar to imply Hungarian support without actually having it. It is something. Barely. East, to Vuk Brankovic. This conversation is the most delicate. Vuk is Lazar's son-in-law. He commands Kosovo itself, the ground where any major battle will almost certainly be fought. His silver mines at Novo Brdo generate more wealth than Lazar's entire principality. He can field 5,000 to 6,000 well-equipped men. He can also walk away. And everyone in the coalition knows it. Vuk has kept diplomatic channels open with Edirne. He has sent gifts to Murad, gifts that could be read as courtesy or as insurance. His nobles are divided. Some support resistance. Others calculate that Ottoman vassalage under Vuk's leadership might preserve their holdings better than a battle they are likely to lose. Vuk commits his troops. The question of whether he has committed everything else will remain open. A crack running through the foundation of the coalition that no one has the time or leverage to repair. Smaller lords send what they can spare. Retinues of 50 men. 100. 200. Farmers who have trained a few weeks a year in formation fighting. They carry spears. They wear chainmail. They know how to hold a line against a cavalry charge, in theory. Against raiders they are serviceable. Against janissaries they are an open question no one wants to ask out loud. By the summer of 1388, Lazar has assembled a coalition of roughly 15,000. It is not enough to invade Ottoman territory. It is not enough to retake Niš. But it is enough to stand on favorable ground and make the Ottomans pay for every yard they take. That autumn, the coalition gets its first test. An Ottoman raiding force, perhaps 10,000 men, crosses into Bosnian territory near Bajlica. The raid is a probe. Murad wants to know if this coalition is real. If Serbs and Bosnians can actually coordinate in the field. Or if they will fracture the moment steel is drawn, the way Balkan alliances always fracture. Lazar and Vlatko answer the question in blood. They mobilize with a speed the Ottomans do not expect. Intercept the raiding force before it can withdraw. Vlatko's Bosnian cavalry hammers the Ottoman flanks in a charge that buckles their formation. Serbian infantry locks the center in place. The Ottomans, expecting scattered resistance from disorganized Christians, find themselves fighting a coordinated force that will not break. They retreat. They leave their dead on the field and their plunder in the mud. Bajlica is a small battle. Low casualties on both sides. But its echo carries across the Balkans like a bell struck in an empty cathedral. For the first time in nearly 20 years, a Christian coalition has beaten Ottoman soldiers in an open engagement. The whisper travels, through market towns, through monastery halls, through villages where men have spent 2 decades assuming the Sultan's armies cannot be stopped. Maybe they can. Lazar uses the momentum ruthlessly. He demands more troops from hesitant vassals. More grain from monastery stores. More commitment from lords who have been watching from the sidelines. He fortifies his southern borders. Stockpiles weapons. Through the winter of 1388, blacksmiths work through the night forging spearheads and repairing armor. Priests travel from village to village preaching that the coming war is a defense of Christendom. That God will stand with the righteous. In Edirne, Sultan Murad receives the reports from Bajlica. He reads them the way a man reads a letter from someone who has insulted him in public. Quietly. Completely. What? He is 60 years old. He has spent 4 decades building an empire that stretches across 2 continents. He has crushed Bulgarian armies. He has made the Byzantine emperor kneel. He has turned every Balkan state that dared resist him into a cautionary tale for the next one. He is not going to let a coalition of regional lords and Bosnian horsemen humiliate him twice. In the spring of 1389, Murad issues the order. Full mobilization. Not a punitive raid. Not a border adjustment. Everything. Janissaries from Anatolia. Sipahi cavalry from Rumelia. Vassal troops from Bulgaria and Byzantium. Christians who fight for the Sultan because the alternative is losing everything they have. Akinci light cavalry to screen the advance. Between 27 and 40,000 men. The full weight of an empire that has not been stopped in a generation. 2 sons march with him. Bezid, the elder, the ruthless one, commands the Anatolian cavalry on the right. Yakub, the younger, the favored, leads the Rumelian Sipahi on the left. Murad holds the center with his janissaries. Supply wagons stretch for miles behind the column, grain, arrows, siege equipment. They march north through the Vardar Valley. They advance as if they are simply relocating garrisons within their own territory. No urgency. No disorder. Just the measured, grinding advance of a power that has all the time in the world and intends to use it. Lazar's coalition converges on Kosovo Polj in the first week of June. Lazar from the north with 8 to 10,000. Vuk from the east with 5 to 6,000. Vlatko from the west with 3,000 Bosnian heavy cavalry. 15 to 20,000 men total. Outnumbered, out-equipped, out-organized, but fighting on ground they have chosen. A flat agricultural plain where the shallow Sitnica River cuts through wheat fields and the road to Kruševac stretches north like the spine of everything they are trying to protect. June 14th. Scouts report the Ottoman camp 5 miles south. 2 armies separated by trampled wheat and the thin thread of a river. Soldiers on both sides sharpen blades. Check armor straps. Write letters they pray will never need to be sent. In the Serbian camp, priests move tent to tent hearing confessions. In the Ottoman camp, imams lead prayers. Both sides claim God. Lazar walks his camp in the fading light. No speeches. Quiet words to men whose names he knows. Hold your ground. Trust the man beside you. They are strong. They are not invincible. We proved that at Bailica. If you know someone who has never heard this story, someone who thinks medieval history is boring, who has never felt the weight of a choice like this, send them this video. Because what happens on this field at dawn will be remembered for 600 years. And it deserves to be remembered right. Night falls on Kosovo Polj. 20,000 men lie on cold ground beneath a sky that offers neither rain nor answers. Most of them are farmers. Most of them have never fought a real battle. Most of them will not survive tomorrow. But tonight they are still alive. And the wheat still stands. And dawn is still hours away. When it comes, it will bring the most consequential morning in the history of the Balkans. Dawn does not arrive. It seeps. A gray light bleeding through clouds that hang low over Kosovo Polj like a burial shroud no one has the hands to lift. June 15, 1389. Men rise in the half-dark. Stiff. Hollow-eyed. Joints locked from sleeping on cold ground and chainmail they did not dare remove. They eat what is left in their packs. Bread that tastes like dust, dried meat their stomachs are too tight to want. Officers move through the lines and force them to chew. A man fights better with food in his belly. Even if his belly is a clenched fist. Across the plain drums begin. Not fast. Not urgent. Slow. A low, steady pulse that rolls across the wheat fields like the heartbeat of something enormous waking up. The sound reaches the Serbian lines before the sun clears the eastern hills. Every man who hears it understands what it means. The Ottomans are moving. Murad's army deploys along the southern edge of Kosovo Polj in a formation that stretches nearly a mile across open ground. The center belongs to the Janissaries. 5 to 6,000 of them. White felt caps. Composite bows across their backs. Curved blades at their hips. They form into blocks so tight a man could walk across their shoulders. They do not speak. They do not shout. They stand in the gray morning light with the stillness of men who have done this before and will do it again and feel nothing about it either way. On the right wing, Bayezid. 8 to 10,000 Anatolian Sipahi cavalry. Chainmail over padded coats. Lamellar plate across their chests. Lances. Sabers. Bows. They sit their horses in disciplined rows, motionless, waiting for the order that will send them forward like a blade drawn across a throat. On the left wing, Yakub, the Sultan's younger son, his favored son, commanding the Rumelian Sipahi, another 8 to 10,000 horsemen drawn from Ottoman territories in Europe. Men who have fought Serbs before, who know this ground, who know the enemy, screening the entire front, Akinci. Light cavalry, fast, lightly armored. Their job is not to kill. Their job is to sting, to provoke, to find the weak point and mark it for the men behind them. Banners snap in a breeze that carries the smell of trampled grain and horse sweat. The Ottoman line does not cheer, does not roar. It waits. The Serbian coalition mirrors them from the northern edge of the plain. Lazar holds the center with his heavy infantry, 6 to 8,000 men carrying spears, axes, swords, shields. Some wear full chainmail. A few have plate armor. Most wear whatever they own or have borrowed or have pulled from a dead man's back. They form blocks. Looser than the Janissaries. Less precise. But they hold their ground and they hold their weapons and they face south. On the left, Vlatko Vukovic. 3,000 Bosnian heavy cavalry. Plate armor. Lances. Trained for the single massive charge. The coalition's hammer. The one unit that can hit hard enough to break an Ottoman wing, if the timing is perfect. If the ground holds, if everything goes exactly right. On the right, Vuk Brankovic. 5 to 6,000 men, Mixed cavalry and infantry. His position anchors the entire flank. If he holds, the line holds. If he breaks, everything behind him is exposed. Between the two armies, a mile of open ground. Wheat trampled flat. The Sitnica River catching dull light through the overcast. Silence so heavy it presses against the chest. Then the Akinci move. They trot forward in loose groups. Close to 100 yards from the Serbian line. Bows rise. Arrows fly. Short, sharp volleys aimed at the front ranks. A few Serbs go down, arrows through legs, shoulders, gaps in armor. The line does not move. Lazar's orders are absolute. Do not break formation. Do not chase. Let them come to us. The Akinci wheel away. Return. Loose again. Wheel away. Return. 3 passes. Testing. Probing. Searching for the unit that will flinch. The unit that will charge early and open a gap. No one flinches. The Akinci pull back. The testing is over. And what comes next is not a test. Murad gives the order. The entire Ottoman line begins to advance. Not running. Walking. The Janissaries move in step, boots striking dirt in unison, a sound like a second heartbeat layered over the drums. The Sipahi cavalry on both wings advance at a controlled trot. Formation tight. Lances vertical. Waiting. This is not an army charging. This is a machine engaging. Lazar watches them come. At 300 yards he gives his own order. The Serbian line moves forward to meet them. The distance closes. 200 yards. 150. Then Vlatko Vukovic sees it. On the Ottoman left, Yakub's Rumelian cavalry is advancing, but has not yet committed to a charge. They are between formations, spread wider than they should be. Moving forward but not yet building the momentum that makes heavy cavalry unstoppable. There is a window. Narrow. Closing fast. But open. Vlatko does not hesitate. 3,000 armored horsemen break into a gallop. The ground shakes. The sound rolls across the plain, hooves on packed earth, armor rattling, a roar that builds and builds until it drowns the drums. Lances drop level. Visors close. The distance vanishes. The Bosnian charge hits Yakub's wing like an avalanche striking a wooden fence. Lances punch through armor and ribcage. Horses collide at full speed, screaming, going down and thrashing knots of legs and steel, and men crushed beneath 1,200 pounds of falling animal. The front ranks of the Rumelian cavalry shatter on impact. The Bosnians drive through the wreckage and keep going, deeper into the Ottoman left, killing everything in front of them with the terrible momentum of men trained since birth for exactly this moment. Yakub Shalebi is in the center of the collapsing formation, shouting for his commanders to form a line, shouting for order. A Bosnian lance finds his chest. He falls from his horse. The press of bodies closes over him. Hoofs finish what the lance began. The Sultan's son is dead. The shockwave travels through the Ottoman left wing faster than any messenger. Units peel backward. Regroup. The Bosnians chase them, driving scattered Rumelian cavalry further from the main battle line, widening the gap, exploiting the chaos. For 10 minutes, wild, bloody, glorious minutes, the Serbian coalition believes it is winning. It is not. On the opposite flank, Bayezid has seen everything. He has watched the Bosnian charge tear through his brother's wing. He has calculated, with a cold speed that will earn him a name meaning thunder, exactly what happens if both Ottoman wings collapse. The center gets surrounded. The Janissaries get crushed. The empire loses everything his father has spent 40 years building. He does not send a messenger to Murad for orders. He does not wait. He attacks. The Anatolian Sipahi hit Vuk Brankovic's right wing in waves. Not one massive charge. Rolling lines of 500 to 1,000 horsemen, striking different points along Vuk's formation, engaging just long enough to kill, then pulling back and hitting somewhere else. Each wave forces Vuk's commanders to shift troops. Stretch the line. Open gaps. The next wave finds those gaps and drives into them. Vuk's cavalry tries to countercharge. They are outnumbered. Bayezid's men refuse the sustained fight. They slash in. They pull out. They come again from a different angle. It is discipline against improvisation. Precision against courage. And precision is winning. Vuk's line bends. Then it bows. Then it begins to tear. In the center the infantry collide. Lazar's Serbs crash into the Janissary line with everything they have, The raw, desperate force of men who understand that losing here means losing everything behind them. Spears stab forward. Axes swing in wide arcs. Shields slam together so hard the impact numbs arms to the bone. The noise is beyond description. Steel shrieking against steel, men screaming, officers bellowing orders that vanish into the roar. The Janissaries absorb the blow. They give ground, a few yards no more. Then they lock. Archers behind the front rank loose arrows over their own men's heads, dropping Serbs before they reach the melee. When the lines meet chest to chest, the Janissaries fight with mechanical precision. Short thrusts, controlled rotations, fresh men stepping forward, exhausted men stepping back, the line never thinning. Constant pressure. Never overcommitting. Never breaking rhythm. The Serbs push. The Janissaries push back. The Serbs find a gap. The Janissaries fill it. The center becomes a stalemate measured in bodies. Men fight shoulder to shoulder. Too packed to fall. Blood soaks into the crushed wheat beneath their boots until the ground turns to a dark paste that sucks at every step. Bravery is not enough. These farmers are fighting men who have trained for this since childhood. And the Janissaries have reserves. Lazar does not. Then the right wing collapses. Vuk Brankovic's forces disengage. Some pull back in formation. Others break and run, northwest toward the hills, away from the killing. Within minutes, the entire right flank of the Serbian coalition is gone. Whether it is tactical necessity or the betrayal that 6 centuries of poets will call it, the effect is identical. The right side of Lazar's army simply ceases to exist. Bayezid does not chase them. He does something worse. He wheels his cavalry inward. Drives the Anatolian Sipahi directly into the exposed right side of Lazar's center. There is no warning. One heartbeat, the Serbian infantry are fighting the Janissaries face to face. The next, cavalry is among them from the side. Horses trampling men who cannot turn fast enough. Sabers cutting down soldiers whose shields face the wrong direction. The formation buckles. Units try to pivot right and expose their backs to the Janissaries in front. Contradictory orders tear through the ranks. Halt. Turn. Retreat. Close up. None of it matters. The Janissaries feel the shift. They press forward. Controlled steps. Blades working. Pushing the Serbs backward, into the path of Bayezid's horsemen. Lazar's center is being crushed between 2 forces. The Bosnians are too far away, scattered after their charge, exhausted, harassed by regrouping Ottoman cavalry. Vuk's men are gone. There is no reserve. No relief. No second line. Men start breaking. One farmer drops his spear and runs. Then 3. Then 20. Then the dam bursts. Dozens become hundreds. The retreat feeds on itself. Every man who runs makes the man beside him more likely to follow. Lazar rides forward. Into the chaos. Shouting for his nobles to hold. For anyone still standing to stand. Some hear him. Some obey. Most cannot. Ottoman cavalry is everywhere, cutting down fleeing men, preventing any organized withdrawal. His horse goes down. Arrow. Stumble. Deliberate strike. The chronicles will argue about it for centuries. What is certain, Lazar is on the ground. Surrounded. Ottoman soldiers recognize the armor. The Prince of Serbia is in their hands. Word spreads through the ranks in minutes. The enemy commander is captured. The battle is over. The Serbian center disintegrates. The plain becomes a killing ground. Ottoman cavalry pursue broken infantry across miles of flat terrain, cutting down exhausted men from behind. Vlatko Vukovic, still on the far left with what remains of his Bosnians, sees the collapse. There is nothing to save. He orders retreat toward Bosnia while the path is still open. His men shattered the Ottoman left. Killed a prince of the blood. The finest 10 minutes of the entire campaign. And it changes nothing. By early afternoon, the Battle of Kosovo is over. Lazar is brought before Sultan Murad. What passes between them, a brief exchange, a final offer of terms, or simply a nod toward the executioner, varies with every source that records it. What does not vary is the outcome. Murad orders the execution. A captured enemy prince is a rallying point. A symbol. A future threat. Lazar Hrebeljanovic is beheaded in front of the Ottoman command tent. The Prince of Serbia dies on his knees in the same wheat field where he chose to stand. Murad does not outlive him long. Sometime in the fading hours of that afternoon, A Serbian knight named Miloš Obilić reaches the Sultan. How he gets there is a question that will outlast empires. Prisoner pretending to surrender. Infiltrators slipping through the chaos of the rout. A man driven by motives no chronicle will ever fully name. What every source agrees upon, he carries a concealed blade. He gets close. He drives it into the Sultan's body. The guards kill him instantly. But the blade has already done its work. Murad I, Hudavendigar. The godlike sovereign. The architect of Ottoman Europe. The man who has not lost a major battle in 20 years, dies on the same field as the prince who dared to defy him. Both commanders dead. Both armies shattered. The plain falls silent except for the moaning of the wounded and the black wings descending. Two leaders enter this field. Neither leaves alive. And the question that will echo for 600 years begins right here. Did anyone actually win? Hold that question. Because the answer depends on what happens in the next few hours. And what happens in the next few hours is colder than anything that has happened on this battlefield. Bayezid is still on the right flank, consolidating, reorganizing, counting the living, when a rider reaches him with two pieces of information that change his life in the span of a single sentence. His father is dead. His brother Yaqub is dead. He is the sole surviving heir to the largest Muslim empire west of Persia. But only if he moves faster than every rival in Anatolia who will hear this news within days and start reaching for the throne. Bayezid makes two decisions within the hour. Both are calculated to the bone. First, Murad's death stays secret. Only senior commanders are told. The rank and file hear that the Sultan has been wounded but is recovering. Panic would fracture the army. Bayezid cannot afford fracture. Not here. Not now. Second, there is a child traveling with the army. Yaqub's young son. Bayezid's nephew. A boy. But a boy with a claim. In the Ottoman system, a claim is a weapon, and weapons in the wrong hands kill the man who ignores them. Bayezid orders the boy executed. It is done quietly. Away from the main camp. No ceremony. No hesitation. A throat cut in a tent while the army packs its wounded onto wagons outside. One sultan. No rivals. This is not cruelty. It is mathematics. The same mathematics that will later be written into Ottoman law. The legal right of a new sultan to execute his brothers to prevent civil war. Bayezid is simply applying the formula before anyone writes it down. With the succession secured, he turns to the battlefield. The Ottomans have won. But the cost is staggering. The Janissary Corps has taken severe casualties in the center. The Rumelian cavalry on the left wing has been shattered by Vlatko's charge. The Anatolian Sipahi are intact but exhausted. And the army does not yet know its sultan is dead. Bayezid also knows that Anatolia is never fully quiet. Rival Turkish states test Ottoman authority constantly. A dead sultan is an invitation for rebellion. If he stays in the Balkans to finish the conquest of Serbia, he risks losing the empire's eastern half. He orders withdrawal. Not retreat, withdrawal. Plan. Discipline. Information. But before the army moves, he ensures Serbia will not recover quickly enough to matter. Thousands of Serbian prisoners kneel at the edge of the battlefield. Farmers. Shepherds. Minor nobles captured in the rout. Bayezid cannot guard them during a long march south. Releasing them allows Serbia to rebuild. High-ranking nobles with ransom value are kept alive. Everyone else receives the blade. The executions take hours. Groups of men forced to their knees in the trampled wheat. Ottoman soldiers carry out the killings methodically. Without rage. Without ceremony. It is policy. The policy is, Serbia will not stand again for a very long time. By evening, the Ottoman army marches south. Murad's body rides in a covered wagon. Hidden. Bayezid rides at the head of the column. Already behaving as sultan before anyone has crowned him. When the army reaches Edirne in early July, he holds a formal ceremony. Announces his father's death. Presents himself as rightful heir. The army accepts without protest. There is no one left to protest. Bayezid Yildirim. The thunderbolt. He has the throne. Behind him, in the silence of Kosovo Polj, the dead lie in the wheat and the crows replace the blackbirds, and the world that 20,000 farmers tried to defend begins its long disappearance. Lazar's widow Milica becomes regent for their 12-year-old son Stefan. She inherits a kingdom with no army, no allies, and no choices. In 1390 she sends envoys to Bayezid. The terms are explicit. Stefan Lazarevic will rule Serbia as an Ottoman vassal. He will pay tribute, provide troops, send hostages. The boy will grow up at the Ottoman court, learning Turkish, observing the empire from inside its machinery, becoming one of Bayezid's most reliable military commanders. In 1396, at the Battle of Nicopolis, Stefan leads Serbian heavy cavalry under Ottoman banners against a European crusade that has marched to liberate the Balkans. French knights charge without coordination and are surrounded and slaughtered. Stefan's Serbs help hold the Ottoman center. Bayezid commends him personally afterward. The son fights for the empire that killed his father. This is the price of vassalage. This is what survival looks like when the alternative is annihilation. Vuk Brankovic tries to resist. He fortifies his lands, refuses immediate submission, hopes for Hungarian support that never arrives in sufficient force. In 1392, Ottoman armies invade his territory. He is captured, taken to Edirne. He dies in captivity before the decade ends. His name, already blackened by accusations that the poets have been sharpening since the day of the battle, becomes synonymous with treachery. The Serbian Judas. Whether he earned the title or simply commanded a flank that collapsed under superior force no longer matters. The myth needs a villain. Vuk is chosen. By 1459, the last independent Serbian territories are annexed. 350 years of Ottoman provincial rule follow. Churches survive. The language endures. Serbian culture persists. Beneath Muslim administration, Ottoman law, and the devshirme that continues taking Christian sons and returning them as janissaries who enforced the system that stole them. The world those farmers fought to defend on a June morning ends the day Lazar dies. What survives is memory. And memory, as the Ottomans will eventually learn, is more dangerous than any army. The monks write the first chronicles. They describe Lazar not as a prince who gambled and lost, but as a Christian martyr who was offered an earthly kingdom and chose a heavenly one instead. He is canonized as a saint. His remains are placed in a silver reliquary at Ravanica Monastery. Pilgrims come. Miracles are claimed. Then the Guslar take the story further. Wandering bards carrying single-stringed fiddles travel village to village across the subjugated Serbian lands. They perform epic poetry at weddings, at festivals, at quiet gatherings where Ottoman officials are not present. They sing of Lazar choosing heaven over earth, of Miloš killing the Sultan to prove his loyalty, of Vuk's betrayal that doomed the righteous. The defeat is not a failure in their songs. It is a sacrifice, a divine trial. Suffering is spiritual test. These are not the facts, but they are what the story needs to be, if it is going to keep a conquered people alive for 500 years. And it does. Through centuries of foreign rule. Through the devshirme and the tax collectors and the slow erosion of everything the church once held. The Guslar carry the memory from generation to generation. They remind Serbian children that their ancestors were not subjects. They were warriors. They stood on a field and faced an empire. And they refused to kneel. The myth preserves identity when every institution has been destroyed. It sustains resistance when resistance is impossible. It fuels the Serbian uprisings of the 19th century, revolutionaries who explicitly invoke Kosovo as they fight to reclaim independence. In 1889, the 500th anniversary, the newly sovereign kingdom of Serbia builds monuments on the sacred field. The earthly kingdom they declare has been restored. But myths are volatile. They simplify what should remain complex. They turn ambiguous men into saints and traitors. They turn a chaotic afternoon of blood and confusion into moral certainty. And once a myth becomes sacred, it can be aimed. In 1989, 600 years after the battle, a politician stands on Kosovo Polj and uses those centuries of memory to stoke the hatred that will set the Balkans burning once again. The same story that preserved a people becomes the match that ignites a war. The farmers who stood on this field did not know they were becoming symbols. They did not fight for a myth. They fought for their sons, their soil, their Sunday prayers. They made a choice: resist or disappear. They chose to resist. They lost. And 635 years later, the wheat still grows on the same plain. The Sitnica still threads its muddy course through fields that remember nothing. The soldiers are dust. The empires they served have fallen. The nations they thought they were defending have changed borders and names and governments a dozen times. But the choice they made, to stand when standing was almost certainly futile, has never stopped being asked. Every generation faces it. In some form, in some field, and how you answer defines who you are. If this changed the way you see history, not as dates carved in stone but as human beings standing in the dark making decisions that still echo, subscribe to Dark History Exhumed. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because stories like this do not survive on their own. They survive because someone passes them on. The field is quiet now. The blackbirds are gone. The wheat bends in whatever wind comes down from the hills. The land does not remember. But we do. This was Dark History Exhumed, where the past still bleeds.